everybody, it's your girl Lily the Goddess. Welcome to another exciting episode of Flawless Dreams Radio Show. Today has been kind of a fast day. It went by way too fast. I wasn't even ready for it to go as fast as it did. But here we are. We're here, and I hope everybody's got their snacks, their drinks, and they're enduring this weather that we're having up and down, cold and hot in the state of Florida. But all right, so let's bring on this awesome, amazing artist. He is a producer, director, Marquis White. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How are you doing?
I've had better days. It's not too bad. I can't complain too much. I apologize to your audience. I'm in a tire repair shop for the evening.
Always going. I can tell that the life of a filmmaker is nonstop. So.
That's right. That's correct.
Things happen. We always have to be ready for when they do.
They do indeed. Yeah.
And so I wanted to go into the first question. First of all, how are you doing today?
So it started off pretty well. So I work on multiple projects with my company. We're working on two really huge projects. One of them I'm not sort of ready to announce yet. I should say three because one of our other film projects is in pre-production, and we're sort of preparing that. It's a family sci-fi. There's some footage that's available in the company trailer. I think you said you will have that one available for folks to see. It's called The Last Creator. Yeah.
Question, where can everybody find you on social media platforms if they want to subscribe?
Sure. Yeah. So YouTube is a great place if you want to see, and we don't do a whole lot just yet. I've got some content that's out there. But YouTube, just type in Enigma with a W Studios. That's ENIGMAW Studios. Right in YouTube. You can also go to my website, enigmawithaw.com, and you can see all of the fun, fancy things that we're doing there. And then, of course, on Facebook and Instagram, just the same thing, Enigma Studios. Anywhere you type in Enigma with a W Studios, you will find us.
I noticed that you have a style. When you're to your filmmaking, there's a unique style. It's something that I noticed there's a consistency. What initially drew you to film producing, and what keeps you motivated in such a demanding role?
Yeah, so I got started. I was always into film in the creative world. So my first projects were when I was in high school. I would make stop motion animation, with my action figures, and create wrestling videos and whatnot. And then that sort of evolved into getting into slightly more production, higher end production work, or for films that came in Michigan. Actually had an incentive program that came, and I think roughly it was the early 2000s. I don't know exactly when it was, either in 2001 and before, maybe 2000. But that incentive program allowed for a lot of films to come into Michigan to be filmed. And big productions too, everything from 8 Mile, which was my first production that I worked on, and major production. Then there was Transformers. We had Demoted. Derailed was filmed in Chicago, and that was with Jennifer Aniston and Clive Owen. But and then films like Detroit and so on, and those are all films that I've worked on. But
wow.
That's what got me started. And then I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to things that I do personally. And
I saw your interview, and you mentioned that that you're a control freak. Well, can you give us some context into that, the control freak?
Sure. Yeah. So that's more of a generalized term, so that people can sort of understand contextually that I like to be in control of what I do. I have no interest in controlling others and their lives or whatever. But for me, it's about I set a certain standard for quality, and especially when it comes to creative, endeavors. I think that we need a significant change in our social consciousness. I think that we don't put enough effort and care for quality in what we do, but I do, and I feel as if I should be doing my best at all times with my projects. And I like to, and in order to do that, you kind of have to control what you do. And that was another thing as well. I don't like, I had a little taste of what kind of goes on behind the scenes and in terms of like Hollywood productions. And, I never went to any Diddy parties or anything, but it was, you kind of get a sense for how some of these things go about. You know, and there are some weird things that happen. There are weird personalities, and you know, everyone's trying to just climb this ladder that's, you know, it's this metaphorical ladder that everyone thinks it's going to take them to the top, and it ends up just kind of, you know, putting them in strange positions, if not at least not take you anywhere. Like that's the worst that the best that can happen to you in that scenario.
Focus on what's going to really push you forward, not something that's going to hinder you and hold you back. You don't want to block your blessings now, people.
No, that's very true.
Yeah, don't block your blessings. How do you decide which projects are worth championing from concept to completion?
So, I mean, you know, for me, to be honest with you, it's whatever I feel passionate about, and you know, I've amassed a team of people who work together to create, you know, the stories that Enigma Studios makes. And I sort of, we write by committee. I mean, sometimes we'll choose who's going to be head lead writer, and that's who's going to be credited as writer, and the others get, you know, an attributing writer in terms of the credits. But we go over it, we discuss it, and it sort of happens organically. We sort of just choose, you know, what the stories that like you get excited about and you're able to develop the most. That sort of leads us in there. But and I can't say that's entirely true, because, you know, so for my large project, we're looking at some things that are most viable. And so we're like, okay, well, this might allow us to do more partnerships. Therefore, we're going to head down that road. And the next one's a family sci-fi film. So
yeah, because networking is important. You need to network. So
yeah, no. Networking's huge. I wouldn't say that networking is the lead factor in terms of what like decides it, but in terms of advertisers, you know, people that you're working with, rated R movies, especially independent rated R movies, the advertisers tend to be very cautious because they don't know, you know, they have no idea what's going to be in your film. And on an indie level, they have far less control. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to donate $5 million to your project. So, you know, some company giving you, you know, $5 to $50, you know, $1,000 on your project, they don't have a lot of creative say in terms of what happens. So they're much more cautious, which is why it's harder to raise budgets on indie films. You know, anything under $1 million, and you're, you know what I mean? You're really scrounging to find people who can support that. Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, and that's the thing. We were taught that, oh, you don't need all this money to create a film. You just need your skills, you need your camera, you need your lighting, you need your people that are really passionate about what they're doing, and that they're set to completing the task at hand, which is the film. So whether it's when it's a short film or a feature film, you should finish what you start. So
no, I fully agree with that. You know, I hear some people say that you should film what you have control over. I don't agree with that. I think that
I like a challenge. Come on,
and that's what I'm talking about, man. I think that you should push yourself to do better and learn some new skills and find a way to make it happen. I mean, you know, to me, that's how things get made. I think if everyone stays safe, we don't push ourselves into new areas, and I don't have fun with that. And I think that's why movies are so boring now, to be honest with you.
Because you can't grow in your craft if you don't challenge yourself and push beyond the envelope.
That's right. That's right. And before George Lucas was George Lucas, he was nobody. You know what I mean? And he proved himself.
He didn't even pay everybody. He didn't even pay his
that's right.
cast and crew members yet until afterwards.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They had faith in him. And everybody that you are working with, your team, I can tell that they have such faith in each other. And there's because teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, and you bring up a very good point. The team is crucial. So, you know, you got to look at it like a ship. You know what I mean? Who do you want steering your ship? If you can't trust the people at the helm, you know, they might crash on an iceberg. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's crucial. So finding people that you can trust and just be transparent. You know what I mean? Because in indie filming, you know, you're asking a lot of favors. And just let people know, look, if you're more transparent about what you're doing and you're ambitious about it, you're going to find people who have that motivation from the beginning, and they're more likely to follow through and to finish what they started. And that's what you want. You know what I mean? If you're trying to tell people, you know, oh, we're going to get stars and we're going to have, you know, Oliver Stone back our project or whatever bullshit. Sorry if it's not okay to swear, but like, you know, if you're fluffing everything up, I mean, you might get people excited at first, but people will discover who you are in the long run, and it's just not going to work to your favor. So I say just, and to be honest, star power doesn't mean almost, as nearly as much as it did back then. And I say do the best with what you can and just be as bold as possible and make sure that you have a good core team of people that you're working with. Yeah.
It's excruciatingly important. I've worked with some folks who had no choice but to just go. I've had to let people go, not on set, but Lord knows I was tempted.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It can be very tough because some people don't like some people to lead, if that makes any sense.
No, it's true, and that's one of the keys, man. If you're always in this weird battle for like who's in charge, you know what I mean? It's like people's ambition. Those are small-minded. Those are small ambitions.
You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head.
Is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it tells you a lot. I think they've got customers. Let me back up so I'm not. I apologize to your listeners, man. But I'm gonna Costco tire change.
You're fine. Everybody here is chill and they're good. But
next interview, I'll be at home in my studio. I've got that stuff all set up. But yeah, no, it's an interesting thing because when you can see so much about people when they, people who engage. If you're on a set where they're constantly engaged and that kind of like bickering back and forth for power, I mean, it just tells you their ambitions aren't to create anything. Their ambitions are just honestly to inflate their own ego. It's to say,
right.
Oh, hey, I'm the boss here. I'm the best at this, and I'm better than you are, instead of let my work speak for itself. And that's the roots of that tree are just doomed to rot, and it will topple over. So yeah, it's not a good beginning.
No, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have way too much experience in working in that sort of environment.
I'm trying to back away from the front counter.
You do what you have to do. What is the most challenging part of producing a film that audiences rarely see? They rarely see it.
So you said, what's the most challenging part of the film that what now?
What is the most challenging part of producing a film that audiences they rarely see, besides what we just mentioned, which is the egos?
I got you. So that's an interesting question. There are many parts to it. So in my films in particular, and you guys will see some of the bits of what we do, it's we throw in, because my company, we have the capability to produce visual effects, so 3D CGI cinema, computer graphic imagery that we can put inside of our tales. So for instance, when we want to flip over cars over freeways, we can do that through visual effects, compositing, and real footage if we want to. But that is a big challenge, and that's a huge one, because you have to make sure that your expertise aligns with your ambition, so that you can pull off what you're trying to do. And for anyone who's curious about it, AI cannot solve this issue. Not entirely. You can get some like kind of decent looking stuff. What's that?
Yeah, moments.
Yeah, moments. Yeah. It's not me. I'm not hitting that beam. But AI. The biggest problem with AI, and I know there's a lot of fear about what it's going to do to the industry. AI can really produce about 10 seconds worth of consistency in a video, and that's good. And I will be honest with you, I have used it for like a shot where we needed to fill a shot in, but it was based off of footage that we already made, and it just gives us the capability to have, coverage in very small quantities.
Different angles.
Yeah, that's right. And it's so funny about that, because AI doesn't really produce great, stunning visual effects just yet. You might get like 3 seconds of something, but the problem is if all of your visual effects are rooted in artificial intelligence, the consistency isn't really there to carry a film, so you can't use it.
Right.
You might get, like I said, a shot here or there of something, and that's good, man. If you can use it, it's a tool. It's a tool that you can utilize. I'm not opposed to it, but I think the real benefits of artificial intelligence it's not really being utilized. And I'll give you a good example. Most editing softwares have just different features such as DaVinci Resolve, you can now rotoscope using artificial intelligence. That's one of the greatest features to, to step inside of the filmmaking world, content creation world, whatever you do. And it's because instead of having to learn how, rotoscoping is the art of like cutting around, say you're cutting around my head, for an entire scene or a shot. Well, if there are, there's a lot of horns going off in the background. If there are, let's say 90 frames in that shot, or God forbid more, that means you have to consistently make sure that every 90 frames, you have to rotoscope each movement as the head turns. That's a very tedious process. And again, that's not even to mention green screen and all kinds of things where, chroma key matching and all that sort of stuff comes into play. But artificial intelligence can now utilize its capabilities to do that for you. And that is a massive time saver, which also means you don't need that person on your set, which means you don't need as big a budget. So,
yeah. And, sometimes it comes in handy if the person is deceased or they're just missing and they're unable to make it to set.
That sounds like personal experience, Lee.
That's all I can say is personal experience. I think that
sorry to hear.
I started with short films, and I did trailers for other people, and I did fashion shows, music videos, and other projects. And like you, I remember you mentioning that it got you got tired of working on other people's projects, and you decided to focus more on your craft and what you wanted to do. Same thing. I got tired of it. I also got tired of the mistreatment, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna with all this, I might as well just focus on my own film. There's no point. Yeah. I'm not gonna go through all this mistreatment and not work on my film.
No, really. Yeah, really. For something you don't believe in, And
the thing is, I believe in everything that I do. Like I've taken them. Every time I do something, I put my heart into it. Even if it's not my project, I've done that for other people. But then when I'm not in turn respected, then it's like, okay, then I just gave my heart to somebody not worth my time. So, but then I say, God bless, peace and chicken grease, and I move on to the next because
that's smart. Yeah.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
So how do you balance creative vision with budgetary and logistical constraints?
So, I can be a little reckless, to be honest with you. I'm a very ambitious individual, so I just kind of throw caution to the wall, and what I mean. But I will say this too. So, my company, we're able to do a lot more than your average like indie studio. Right. So that sort of unlocked quite a bit for us because we know that we can pull off, I can make a spaceship land in the backyard and make it look pretty good. So we don't have to pay for a company to do that. So which enables us to utilize whatever kind of budget that we get in to tackle that. And that just leaves, your on-screen talent and whatnot. Right. So that's where it kind of comes. That's where it's a little different is, I know that we can handle more than most like filmmakers might be able to, tackle when they come into, and onto set or whatever, or on into production. So it's a little, I don't know. I will say this though, money and time are the biggest, weighing levers on both ends of that scale. So if you don't have, the proper budget to pay your cast, what ends up happening is your production can take longer because, you're really asking people to extend, faith in terms of your project, whereas opposed to money is a real, it's leverage. You know what I mean? If you don't do what you signed up for, you don't get paid. And so those are the balances, right? So I would say that that's
COVID, let's not forget 2020 COVID.
Oh, God, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't even me and my son were doing all kinds of fun stuff. We were doing our own little thing, and I was building stuff in the backyard. But you know what I say? I have a saying. It's some people say when it rains, it storms, but I think when it rains, it waters the grass. And as simplistic as that seems, so the bad things that happen are really, they can be preparing you for, to do something better. Because if you allow it to sort of help you grow, you'll pick up new skills and you'll develop things in terms of your resilience in order to combat whatever issues that you come across. So that's how I view
you
filmmaking.
will, and you just have to learn how to navigate around all those things.
Yeah, that's right. That's
simple
right.
As that. It's not simple, but simple as that.
No, well, I mean, and anyone who chose the field of filmmaking didn't choose an easy life. So I can tell you that.
No,
much.
I know.
Yeah.
I keep telling people that all the time, that they
Yeah.
want to get into this. I was like, well, commitment is really
it's very true.
the highlighted, keyword here, commitment, because you have to finish what you start.
No, that's true.
Can you walk us through a moment when a project almost didn't happen and you had to push it forward?
A project almost didn't happen. So we are. I'll say this about my other project. So there is a project that I'm working on, and this is live entertainment. It's not film. It's filmmaking related, but only because the IP is tied to the environment that you will experience. So, this has been a project several years in the making, and we're developing this really awesome spot that you can go and check out and walk into and experience lots of fun attractions and whatnot. And it's very vague and almost cryptic, but that's what I'll say about that. But anyways, that project had a few snags simply because, we've had like early investors that, they either made claims that they couldn't back up, or, a lot of people will want to come in and claim. Everyone wants 20% of something. Well, I'll just say that anytime you're doing something, beware of the 20%ers, because they'll want 20% of your project when you're doing 90% of the work, or they're doing 0.5% of the work, but just because they they're bringing you something helpful, they think they're owed 20%.
They want the title, but you did the work. It's like, wait a minute, I should get, but what you didn't do that job. You can't get that title. You didn't do the work.
That's right. And a lot of that is honestly because it's like they've got it's that ego thing that we were talking about in the beginning of the interview. Is people want the inflated sensibility about what they've accomplished without having to do it, and they don't understand that to actually accomplish the things that we're talking about, whether it's this this immersive thing that I'm speaking of, or it's films, there's so much work that goes into it. I mean, there's an insane amount of work to make any endeavor, any business that you're trying to, and that's what filmmaking is. It's a business. To make any business succeed, the grits and the effort and the challenges, the rejection, the soul tormenting, just defeats, all that stuff. If you stick through that, that's you building your business up. But people will want to come in, and like I said, they'll want a big old chunk of what you do, simply because they told you that your character should be called Timmy instead of Bob. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So that's that was one there. And then backing out. And let me tell anybody here who doesn't already know this: be careful about who your partners are in the beginning, because it's very easy to pull on a partner. It's very difficult to get rid of one. So, and it's hell, it's torments, and God forbid you sign any contract with these folks, because, God. Oh yeah, it can be a nightmare. So those are some of the challenges. Film wise, I've really lucked out, to be honest with you. I've had a lot of really good experiences with film. Well, no. Okay, I got a good one. And I'm a bit of a talker, so I apologize. But
good.
But yeah, no, we had a film, and this one didn't pull through. We raised $120,000 for this project, and the guy who was supposed to be producing it, he got divorced, and he was already a massive, he was just smoking weed every day, getting drunk, and he was not doing his job. He was just negating everything, telling people that money was coming in their pockets, and half paying people. And we had everything set up, locations were all ready to go, and then it just sort of fell apart because we weren't prepared, and he was not fulfilling his duties. And and it's one thing to pull someone's weight a little bit, but for the entire project. Is that mine, sir? Okay, all right.
I can relate
should I
to
leave it
that.
on while I tackle this? I just got to pay for my car, and I'll be set to go.
Just go
All right.
ahead.
Should I hang it up? Should I just keep on? Does it matter?
Just keep on. It's live.
Okay. I don't mind. Yeah, that's okay. I just, like I said, I felt bad for this video.
Behind the scenes.
Hey, let me. I'm gonna mute it.
Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in to the Flawless Dreams Radio Show with your girl, Lady the Goddess. Once again, I'm interviewing Marquis White, the producer. And if you haven't heard about his project, the Sugar Boys, his feature film, this is his baby, this is his project, and he's been working very hard with his team on this. And you could see that the team is really committed. You can kind of like get a feel for that sort of like family atmosphere. So it's really important to have that. And not everybody gets to have that. You got people who they'll start something, but then they throw tantrums if things don't go their way. And next you know, you're carrying a bunch of toddlers instead of grown adults. So, yeah. Oh, and thank you so much, Ninja, for tuning in. Thank you, lovely mom, and everybody else in the comments. Thank you. You are welcome to ask Mr. Marquis any questions that you might have about films and making films. It's tough. So just keep in mind that when you are getting into anything, you want to finish what you start. So that's basically what we've covered is finish what you start. If you start a project, you finish it. And everybody that's on board, they're either on board or they're not. But it's like, again, they should finish with you because it definitely will be worth it. It's worth it. But some people don't want to do the work. They just want the end result and they just want to hurry up and get it. That's all they want. Okay. Well, don't worry. Just watch it on screen, big screen if you want to. That's fine.
All right, I'm going to put this guy into my car. All right. Can you hear me, Lee?
Yes, I can.
Is this all right? This is the most unprofessional I've been on an interview. I really apologize.
This is fine. This is fine. This is our first interview. It's not going to be our last. This is like us getting where everybody's getting to know Marquis White and they're kind of like, breaking some ice with you. Oh, I always ask this question to everybody I interview. What's your zodiac sign? I know it, but just so the audience knows.
Let me see what's trying to connect it to my car. You there?
Yeah. Did you hear the question?
Let me see what's going on here. I'm going to keep talking and see if I can plug you in the right spot. Are you there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yep, you're in the car. Awesome.
Okay, so I always ask everybody I interview this question. Now, I know the answer to it, but so the audience can hear you say it. What's your zodiac sign?
I'm an Aries.
He's an Aries. So shout out to everybody who's an Aries in the comment section. Aries team, everybody gets all excited when they hear stuff like this.
You guys want to hear something funny?
What's up?
Well, they patched up my tire, but they didn't fill up the air pressure.
Oh my gosh!
I can do it. I can do it at home. That was kind of I don't know what they were thinking with that, but okay.
Listen, this is real life, people. This is how it is. Okay, so when you get a chance, what qualities do you look for when you assemble a strong creative team? Then we were just talking about, people finishing what they start, but what qualities do you look for when you're assembling the team?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, and it's one that I've had to kind of fine tune my response to. I think I've always kind of known what to look for to some degree. I shouldn't say that even. I will say that ambition is a great one, but you got to be careful because people can come on set and they might not try to challenge you, but they might try to challenge your second in command. You know what I mean, and try to prove themselves better, and they almost do too much without understanding what needs to be done. And when you're handling a ton of equipment, you know what I mean, like on a film set, and one screw or one cable can really prevent you from filming. So that's huge. And if these people don't know what they're doing, they're too ambitious without knowledge. Ambition without knowledge is not good. So I would say that people who are ambitious and willing to learn, I think that's probably the greatest. Those are some of the greatest qualities you can find in people on the film set. And sometimes I prefer that over a skilled worker with a bad attitude, because a skilled worker with a bad attitude can wreck your day.
Oh my God!
Yeah, they can be toxic, and I'll turn my car low. I don't know if that's legal.
I think I've experienced all the negative things that you just mentioned.
Yeah. It's it sounds like you were telling me, and you're sorry, my car knob is there. But you're it sounds like you're dealing with some crazy stuff on set. So it's uh-oh. Are you still there? Did I lose you?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I pressed the tab button. That's what it. But yeah, no, it's kind of crucial, man. You have to you got that element of ambition, and the eagerness to learn almost always implies a level of trust that you can place inside of someone, because they're sort of accepting, and admitting that they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And they're willing to sort of take your lead on it, especially if it's your project. And I am someone that I love it when someone comes onto my set that is highly skilled. What's that?
I agree with everything that you're saying. Preach.
Yeah. Well, it's when you're dealing with someone who's highly skilled, you also have to kind of humble yourself enough to be like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, and that's why I brought you on. Therefore, tell me what is the best thing to do in this scenario. So there are several things to look for with that, and I've had people that come on set that do know what they're doing, but they think they know what they're doing in everything that is being done, and that can kind of you can tell the second you sort of correct them in terms of your direction or your whatever, and then their egos get bruised, and then it's like they what I mean, they get all funky, and then they the rest of their time with you is sort of, it's odd and awkward. So then that's why I say people who they've got that ear to they're eager to learn, and their ambition is high enough that they want to figure stuff out and come on and do as much as possible. Those are the best. That's the best worker, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know all those negatives that you mentioned. It's very difficult to people to remember. Just learn. If you don't know something, just admit it. Say, I'm not really sure how to do this, and then I just give you some directions. It's not really hard. Not a big deal. Ninja says the best is to learn. The best thing to learn is to trade. It will never fail you. Okay, so in other words, trade information. If somebody knows something. I hear an echo of myself.
Yeah. Oh, is it in mine? It might be mine because you're on my speakers. Is it pretty bad? I can put it on.
No.
It's in my car speaker. If it's bad, I can put it on the phone speaker again. So.
Whatever is easier. I think it is kind of annoying.
Okay. Well, let me switch it back. This should be pretty seamless. Let me. Are you there?
Yep.
Oh, it's the same thing. Is the speaker gone? Is the echo gone, or is it still there?
Testing 1 2 3. No, still there.
It's still there. Let me see.
I think it'll help if I just speak low.
If you're speaking, I can't hear you. Let me see.
Now.
Yeah.
If you put it back, go ahead and.
I might have to stick with I will be back at home in a sec. Oh, you know what? Let me just unplug this thing. All right.
What about now? You there?
Yes, I'm here.
I think it's still there. The echo's probably still there, right?
No, I don't hear it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, somehow
you're good. My next question is: producing often requires decisiveness and confidence. So, how do you approach leadership on set?
How do I approach leadership? I have a background in a lot of things. I was a consultant for quite some time for a few different agencies, and I was also an educator for a couple of different universities, and a lot of foreign trade and whatnot. So dealing with crowds of people that I don't know is it kind of comes natural to me in some regards, but there are definitely times where you still get nervous. And I think that if you go into a scenario where you sort of inflate your ego in order to seem superior, it's very easy for that ego to pop. You know what I mean? In other words, you can really quickly be shown to not know what you're doing. However, if you approach a scenario like, well, I'm in charge, however, I'm fallible, I kind of know that I can make mistakes, or the best thing is to just say, I brought other people onto this project because I'm looking for their expertise. Therefore, feel free to fill me in with your expertise. I almost by default, you're not pretending as if you know everything. So you're not like placing yourself above to the point where you're liable to fall. If that makes any sense, you know what I mean? Like you're not. If you build yourself up to the point where you're like on top of everything, you're gonna fall down because it's bullshit. You can't. No one knows everything, and you can't expect. You don't want to know everything. Yeah.
Right.
So that's really my approach. Is just to, it's to be natural and to just approach people to really to look for what other people have to offer you and to make your projects, come to life. And that's really ubiquitous with almost any endeavor that you do. Whether it's a friendship, you're not in your friendship, for yourself. You're really in the friendship to kind of, you know what I mean? You're bouncing information back and forth and, sharing these bonds and helping each other out in different places. So that friendship, understanding that a friendship or any relationship is about, how you can really utilize each other in different scenarios and to just sit and listen when it needs to happen. If you can apply that to filmmaking or any endeavor that you do, you'll actually gain quite a bit because you'll find it easier to give commands to people, and you know what I mean? Because then they'll feel like they're being heard and they're not being bossed around or micromanaged. So that's kind of a key, is to just be in a position like as the boss, but you're not their master. You know what I'm saying? You're not you don't own them. So
right.
Yeah, understanding that difference, I find is kind of key to these scenarios.
Well, it's working very well for you. So I
appreciate it.
To you. So then, with that, how do you manage pressure and fast-paced decision-making in high-stakes environments?
That's a skill. You just kind of have to develop the skill of, you know what I mean? Like being very observant and scoping out what needs to be done as you go along. You want to develop a problem-solving mindset. I think having a mindset of, no matter what, I will make this. It's like what we were talking about. I will make this happen. I don't have everything that I need to make this movie, but I will find a way to make it happen. That's sort of your base, and that's your default. You can, especially on film. Films are fake. You're creating a fake world to do whatever. So, you know what I mean? None of it's real, anyways.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. So as long as you can. Yeah, well, I'm glad it resonates. You know what I mean? But it's no, good. But that's just the truth is you're creating a fake world for people to see, and then you're also given so many chances to course correct, because right, like you film your scenes, and then after you film your scenes, you can watch your dailies, and then if you make a mistake, you in some capacity have the option, especially now with all of the technology that we have, to either put people in a new scene with green screen or use artificial intelligence for a shot. You know what I mean? Like there are many ways to course correct. Then in editing, you can choose to chop out that bit if you don't need it, that shot or that scene. You know what I mean? Like, so that's one of the greatest things in film is I can always fix what isn't perfect before it's released to my audience, my target, my customers. And so that's it. So yeah, no, I think that, having that, not freaking out about everything is key. You have to be in a mindset of, I will find a way to do it. And you really have to develop the quick reflexes to find solutions in tight spots. And to, if you're someone that kind of freaks out too much by default, my suggestion to you isn't to make a story about it and complain to yourself that you're not good enough or whatever, your brain might tell you. The honest truth is you just need to develop the skill. So just go out, put yourself under situations where you're put under pressure, and you have to deal with the fact that, this is an issue that happens, but there is a solution later. And what will happen is your brain will correlate, the fact that it's not the end of the world as it's happening. You know what I mean? Because that's, your brain triggers itself into this place where it goes, oh, the world is ending. Oh my God, everything's going well. But afterwards, everyone can attest to this. Guess what? You're still alive. The project still goes on. You're still figuring things out. If you can start to create this pattern in your brain that, it's not the end of the world, and I can find a way after I have, engaged in whatever, area that the problem has occurred, then you will begin to correlate the fact with, I can look first before I freak out, or I can find a solution before I freak out. So that's how you develop that. That's how you.
So is that that's your approach when taking creative risks? So what is your approach with taking creative risks, and how do you elevate when a risk is worth it?
Taking creative risk. Can you give me an example of what you mean by creative risks? I guess that's it.
If something's on set that is not working, let's say it could be either the lighting or let's say choreography that's not working, but everybody's rehearsed that choreography time and time again. That's the main choreography. What is your next step to creatively to take if that choreography is not working?
Gotcha. So, that's a tough, it's you want to make sure that choreography works. You want to make sure.
Maybe an alternative, okay, if this doesn't work, then I want you to do this,
I think, and we've run into these issues, to be honest with you. In fact, when we first started, we didn't have great choreographers handling our action sequences. We're doing it's an action movie. But it was only until later that we started diving in more, and then sort of realizing, some of this has kind of sucked, that we started to focus more in on that. But if you're on set and you're encountering this scenario where you're like, oh, this just isn't working out, I would find a way. Dive into your talent. Number one, what is your talent? What are the issues your talent is running into? If they're hitting a wall in terms of their physical capabilities, like they're not able to sell a punch, well, maybe it's not a punch. Maybe they pick up a brick, or something. Cut the shot differently. Have the shot twist in a way that you can cut the shot to make it look like a real impact. Things
like a hit actually happened.
Exactly. And sometimes, and I actually find that when you creatively problem solve, that a lot of time, I would say 50% of the time, if not more, you end up with a better solution because you've had to put a little more thought into it. To make it sell. And and a lot of times too, I think as indie filmmakers, one of our big concerns is, it's worrying that we're going to come out professional. I'm not going to be seen as a real filmmaker. I'm not going to be seen as this and this and blah, 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 blah. Some of the best films are films where you're not showing the thing that you are so eager to show, but you end up letting the audience, fill in the blank of what it is that you're trying to portray. And that's way more, you're engaging your audience, you're engaging your customer, which means that they're more invested into what you're doing. If you can imply, it's almost, the same thing goes with sex scenes. If you have a sex scene, but you don't either want to show, a bunch of naked bodies and some gratuitous whatever, or you have actors and actresses that aren't comfortable with it. Some of the best things that you can do is imply that something is happening, because the people's mind they'll fill in the gaps. You just have to be kind of
gaps, everything. Yeah.
No, it's
The
and
whole
that's
point is they have to use their imagination, which is the same thing that they did in Never Ending Story. I love how clever they were when they tricked the whole audience and they got them so engaged. That freaking is genius. I'm sorry, but it's genius.
No, that's one of the best ways. Jaws did it when they were filming Jaws. The damn shark broke.
You mentioned Jaws, yes, Steven Spielberg. Jaws. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he was a genius at that, and it's and again they thought their movie was screwed, but it turns out not having the fake looking shark, on there was one of the best things that they could do. But that's to say for a lot. There was actually a recent example I'll give you is
I thought it looks good to this day. I think it's a classic. It's never getting old. That's just my opinion.
Well, and the honest truth is, and this is what I say, everyone's so worried that they have the best cameras and the best whatever. That's actually not, I mean, it's a good thing to have good looking image. Like, that's a very good thing. But that's not the end all of your film. The most important thing of your film is that it's watchable. And I would say there are like three pillars of watchability, and you can be down on one of those pillars, but you can't be down on 2 out of the 3, right? Audio, visual, and acting. Right. If you can have bad video and still have a very good film, you can't really have horrible audio. That just makes it unwatchable. So you kind of need that no matter what you do. But it doesn't have to be great audio. It doesn't always have to be great. It should be the best that you can make it, but it doesn't have to be the most fantastic. But it should be consistent and not picking up a bunch of weird stuff in the background.
I want to say this about the audio that you just mentioned. I think that practicing silent films, because we had to practice, we had to do a few of our projects in the beginning without having sound, gave everybody sort of the creative juice that they needed to create. Like if they push come to shove, they ever did have sucky sound, how are you going to actually work with that? Because that's also creative, decision making right there. And that's what I had done with one of my music videos. There was acting and we didn't have the best sound in the beginning. So I said, okay, so this is what we're going to do. The credits are going to show in the beginning. It's purposely supposed to be like this. You just hear everybody speaking in the background. Even if you don't hear exactly what they're saying, it's just background noise at this moment, but it's supposed to be like a party scene. So, and so we just did cuts going to a different shot. The other cut showed the actor, the lead, him being upset with where his woman was, and that's it. Just it's just creative. Just be creative. If you're lacking in one area, if you're lacking in something, find a creative way to still make the project complete and tell your story.
No, I fully agree with that. And then it's
where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And ADR is one of your best friends too. I mean, you want to get the best that you can when you're filming, but in terms like party scenes, if you have a massive crowd, in fact, we filmed not that long ago. We had we had 200 people on set this day, and it was a big scene that we had, and people were running out of the room and all kinds of fun stuff. But one of the biggest issues with that really was, how do you do with the audio and whatnot? But you can ADR so much, you can add sound later, you know what I mean? Like there are many options that you can do when it comes to film.
And I work in music too, as a musician and a musical artist. I find creative ways to work with sound. So I'm like, you're talking to the right person. If we're having a sound issue, I got you. Just trust me.
Yeah.
So it all has to do with trust. Trust is a huge thing on the
set. Is. It definitely is. That is certainly true.
I've seen your stuff. I've seen your work, and it's so great. And I can tell. Trust.
No, trust is huge.
With those stunts that I've seen, I'm like, wow. And we're gonna get a chance to see the trailer, everybody. So
Yeah. So I've been driving around for a second. In my neighborhood, I can pull in. I'm actually at home, so I can pull in and kind of get set up there. I mean, how do you want to? Do you want to take the little pause now, or how do you want to do this?
I'm about to show your trailer right now, if you want, just to give you a minute.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. Well, should I just leave it on then, and then just go inside, or what do you think?
Just leave it on. I'm gonna make you disappear, and then I'm gonna pull up your trailer.
Okay, perfect. That gives me a chance to go inside, not take off my seatbelt.
Yes, take off your seatbelt. All right, everybody, this is the trailer for his feature film, Sugar Boys.
Gentlemen, we are behind schedule, and I have party to attend.
It's at the Belle Isle docks, okay? They told me to come alone. They said no cops or they'd kill her.
Okay, it's just my friend, my best friend Winnie. She's missing.
McDoodle, you are a moron. She's a badge bunny, bro. All she wanted is a taste of the blue. Why else would she come to you?
Because I'm fucking Flip McDoodle.
Well, tell her to file a damn report like everybody else.
If we dig into this case and Maiba International is involved, we're gonna be Detroit's baddest cops, and everybody's gonna know us once again. We're gonna be back on top.
Why the hell is everyone out there calling you two the Sugar Boys?
This wasn't a drug bust.
I'm Sugar Boys.
Don't call me Sugar Boy.
What do you guys know about this new terrorist cell, DOA?
That is awesome. I love it. I'm excited to see it. I can't wait to see this film.
Oh, thank you. I'm putting my earphones.
I don't know. You're good. I cannot wait to see this film. Everybody, that's Sugar Boys, and it's going to be coming out next summer. This summer.
Oh, sorry. I screwed up. Hold on.
You're absolutely fine. That was exciting. And what did you say before? The crescendo.
Ah, there we go. Yeah, the crescendo. That's right. It's or the denouement, right? The pinnacle of the film, where everything coalesces together. Yeah. So,
Nick,
thank you.
Does it look like something you want to watch? Everybody, shout out to Marquis White. He's got this awesome film called Sugar Boys. Oh, we're working to put that in as many theaters as possible. Who does? I know her. She's my first AD.
Oh, great! So no, please. I hope it's something everyone wants to.
There's actually a few theaters. I'll have to give you some information of a few theaters in Florida that will definitely play this film.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You know, the more the merrier. The more push it gets. And speaking of push, like what do you really want to have this land? Is your target Netflix? Is your target, where's your target?
You know what's interesting about that is the industry is in such flux that our original goal was to just put it to get the best streamer possible, which funny enough, Netflix is not always the best streamer. You don't really make that much money on Netflix as an indie filmmaker, especially via distribution and whatnot. But Netflix comes with the prestige. If you have Netflix as if you're showing your stuff on Netflix, there's a prestige to it, right?
Right.
But our goals are mixed. We of course want to make as much money as possible on it, but I'm really just focused on making sure it's the best movie possible, because then people want to watch it, and then you know what I mean. I think our chances for selling it to the highest bidder will be the best, or leasing it out to different streamers is the best thing. But right now, so we've had some serious discussions with there's a nice coalition of theaters, of several thousand theaters around the continental United States, that they're looking, because a lot of these big studios, they are not putting their films inside of theaters right now. So we might have the opportunity to distribute our films inside of those theaters, giving us wide access. And that's something I'd like to do. I'd like it to be in the theaters as long as possible. I mean, if we could do 45 days, that'd be great. If that's a realistic possibility, I would love to do it, and then just wait till after to do streaming.
And are you picky with where like the theaters are? Like, does it matter if it's like, let's say, a drive-in theater? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. Great, because I have all the information.
My only stipulation is you send me photos. If this thing is in a drive-in and you see, my company name up there with the actors that have been in it, we would love that. Our
they have
biggest.
great food. They have
Yeah,
great
no,
food.
hey, if we can see, you know what I mean? Like for us, it's the build. I want to build the foundation. Building the foundation is far more crucial now than making a quick buck. So, and that's what I want to do. I want it to go out there and build enough of a foundation. I want to make a sequel out of this film. I think it would be a great film for a sequel.
I feel, yeah, I the way that the vibe that I get from the film, just from that trailer, because I haven't seen the film, obviously not yet, but I can feel it needs a sequel. I feel it's gonna have it.
I call it.
I mean, even the title itself sounds like it's gonna need a sequel.
I already got a sequel title in mind, and it's kind of funny. So, and for people that want to know the type of film that it is, I'm calling it a cross between Rush Hour and Bad Boys. So that's.
Oh my God! I was just thinking that. Oh my God! I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that. That's crazy. So, like, real quick, because I know we're going to be ending this soon. How has the film industry changed in recent years, and how have you adapted as a producer, given not going backwards, because I know how it's changed before, like given 20, we're not going to go back that far back, like 2000 to 2020. We're not going to do all that. Recent years, like from, I would say 2024 to now.
Well, and here's what's funny, and I'll take it back further, and the reason why is because there hasn't been that much change between we'll say from 1980 to like 1990. There wasn't much change. You had major blockbusters, like our Spielbergs and our Jim Camerons. They sort of changed the landscape then, but it was only really the type of films that was being made. Whereas, you were still making movies, you know what I mean? Like independent films were on a rise in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then the biggest change that really happened in terms of the process and the way that films got distributed was just that the invention of like digital cameras sort of enabled the democratization of, filmmaking gear for people that didn't have a buttload of money to spend. But that was really the greatest change. You didn't really have much. Whereas now, there's an existential threat to filmmaking, period.
Yeah.
And it's not just because of AI, but the way that people consume media is different. You know what I mean? Like people's attention spans are so tiny, and after COVID, you know what I mean? The thirst for theaters just dropped dramatically. Personally, I think that the level of quality, I think it's so underestimated, how much quality has to do with the theaters, the movies that we go see. You only have, pre-built audience films going in there. You've got Wicked 15 coming out. You've got, Avengers 2000, whatever the hell. And I like big blockbuster fun movies as long as they're good, but they started, they're not just formulaic, but they're just, I don't know. It's like they've given all shits that they could give about these movies. They're gone. They don't care what they're making for whatever reason. And I think that is largely what's killed, the business itself, in particular for, theaters and whatnot. And that's where it's changing, is because, if you're diving into the filmmaking business, you used to be able to pick up a gig and reliably go, find work that you could feed yourself and live off of. That's becoming increasingly rare. You know what I mean? The money in terms of filmmaking is really more in content creation, because if you can start your own YouTube channel and build up an audience for yourself, that's where the money is kind of going towards. So I think that that's really been where some of the change is. Now artificial intelligence is changing that, because people play to the algorithm, and what they do, instead of focusing on content, they'll hit generate, and generate will create stuff that people want to watch. And if you can pump enough of those out within a week, 100 videos a week, it's hard for people that are like genuinely putting something together to compete with that, because those eyeballs are, it's gone. So the medium that film gets distributed, that's what's really in flux, because there was always a separation between YouTube and film. Film is, you have a different audience for it. These are people that want to go and that want to sit for 2 hours and, watch something that they're engaged in, and then follow it as it grows as either a brand or whatever.
I think creatively there is still that audience, though. There's still that audience that craves story. And there's still that audience that appreciates the story first, and then the visuals is like a bonus, and then anything else further is also a bonus. Without a good story, and it's just like, oh, all this act, because I've sat through some films where there's so much action, very little story, and I'm like, I don't know the purpose of what's going on. Why are we fighting? What's going? Why is this car chasing this person? What's going? I don't know what's happening. I'm like, wow, that car looks nice, but what the hell is happening?
No, that's very true. That's true. And you bring up a good point. So, again, everyone's worried about AI, but my prediction with what's going to happen is it's going to be so easy to make something artificial that doesn't require much effort. I think it's going to be so similar, which is what you see now, and some of it's good, man. I think we're kidding ourselves if we don't say that we're attracted to some of this stuff. You know what I mean? Some of it's good stuff, but it's not a replacement for film and genuine storytelling. And I think that what happens, it's going to be so easy for people to make like that quick, dopamine hit content that it's all going to kind of be the same, but that also opens up a door for people that want to really put in the work to deliver something. And I think that that's just genuinely what it's always kind of what it's always come down to. The people that want to sit and really put in the work to really discover, one, what their passion is, two, what their skills are, and three, how to develop those skills. Correct. I think that's something that people often forget. You can't stop at what you want. You have to learn how to deliver. You have customers. Your customers are your audience. You have to, there's a balance between delivering what you want to deliver because you're the visionary, right? And then delivering what an audience wants to watch. And you have to be good at what you do. You have to learn what it means to be good. Simply having a creative vision doesn't mean anything. That's why French films suck ass. No offense, France. You know what I mean? But that's the reality.
I've seen a film of Beauty and the Beast, and I love
that was good.
Visuals.
I saw that.
Now, you know which one I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Great actors. The actors were really good. I'm like, I couldn't put that one down. That one I had to watch that one. But yeah, I still watch movies like Jaws, and it still impacts me as though I just first saw it. And for me, that's what makes a film a classic. It never gets old. It's never going to get old. Yeah. I don't even like using the word old for things that are still useful. For me, something old is something there's no use for it. It's out of order. But something that's a classic, you still can use it. It still serves its purpose. All that stuff. So
1,000%.
That's just me.
There's a great individual on YouTube, and she's an author, and she's a writing teacher or whatever. Her name is K.M. Wiling. And if you ever get a chance, she's really fantastic to listen to. But she gave a really good piece of advice, and it was kill your darlings. You know what I mean? So what that means is in the process of writing or even editing, sometimes you have to kill off the thing that you love the most if it doesn't serve the story. And that's, what I mean? That's the killer of so many films is, if I'm watching this, you can be partial to something because you want to see it. But if it's not, relevant to the flow of the story, that's, what I mean? It's not good. And that's the thing that like Spielberg knew. That's the thing that made James Cameron a freaking genius, was that they knew, like when you watch Terminator 2, there's a director's cut that a lot of people have seen these days. And it's when, they're pulling, they pull out the chip, and then, Sarah Connor's going to smash the chip.
I've seen that. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
He chose to cut it because of the time. I do think that they probably could have left that one in there, but the movie didn't suffer by getting rid of it. And they knew there was a period of time where they understood Hitchcock was a genius at this. The pacing. Ever watch Rear Window, man? The pacing of these films was just spot on. They knew that. We've lost touch with that, and it's weird because
Kubrick, yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a book called Save the Cat, which most filmmakers learn about, when they're in film school or whatever, or there are a few others too, obviously. But I think this methodology of just following that formula to the T, and which is funny because the author of Save the Cat, his whole premise was learn the spine, but then once you know how to build a spine, you can build something better on top of it by doing something different. Apparently, we just copy the spine and the body at the same time as everyone. Man, these films today are just they're so much the same. No one's taking any risks. It's not. A lot of films aren't even done by the time that they're finished, and they're just making brand new films by the time they're in the editing room.
It's like
Copy paste, yeah. And it's not even just big budget films. I come down hard on big budget films because they, you know what I mean? Like they don't have any excuses, man. You and I don't have $300 million to invest in a film, but they do. There's no reason why Jurassic World Rebirth should not be better than Jurassic World. All three of those garbage films.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I agree.
No. I mean, it's just true. And I love Jurassic Park. I love dinosaurs.
I love it. Yes. I love what the first one for me? Oh, it never gets old. Just freaking.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the funny thing about that is that was the film that had the smallest budget. That's why they hired.
It's like when you have the smallest budget, it's like you're forced to focus on story, and everything else is a bonus.
Well, so Spielberg had a great philosophy with his films. He still does, and I forget exactly what it was. There was one of the films, I think it was Jurassic Park. I think the philosophy was there's the dip. So when the T-Rex comes out of the T-Rex paddock, he walks out of it, whereas opposed to they knock the car over and it falls, right? Well, Spielberg's answer to that was genius, and I don't care. People know about it all day long. They complain about it now, but the honest truth is, and he said it. He said, "Look, if they're focused on the logic, then we're not doing our job. You're not engrossed in the story," and that's just so true. That's just the honest truth. If you're focused on, you know what I mean, the fact that your camera has too much grain or whatever, then your story's not good. If people are engrossed in your story, if they're engrossed in what happens, you only need a certain level of consistent believability within what you're creating. You know what I mean? To fall in love with it. I guarantee you can watch 80s films that you've never seen before today, or films that have the same 80s aesthetic, and still fall in love and still make those your favorite films. So everyone's so worried about how glossy the film looks, but too few. And you see this, I always make fun of films that make it on Tubi. And I'm trying to be cautious because Tubi is such a fantastic platform. They really are. Some of the best movies end up on Tubi, to be honest with you. Like old films. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna take a swig of water. But what happens is a lot of these like filmmakers that just release content, they're just struggling. And you see a lot of these urban films, a lot of these get made in Michigan, the regions like this, but it's like our Christmas movies, like for Hallmark. I love Christmas movies, you know what I mean? But
I know, but
wasn't there
like a huge this horror was basically really big, or still is it still big in Michigan, horror specifically?
Yeah, horror's big, but right now it's urban films and Christmas movies. They've taken over.
Oh, okay, because that's why when I was in Michigan when I was studying film, that I decided to do something crazy. Everybody was doing the same thing, horror or zombie vampires. Don't ask me. Don't ask me why. Don't just no.
Well, I can tell you why.
I decided to do something in Japanese with English subtitles.
That's awesome. Hey, I dig it, man.
And so I said I'm not gonna do anything, and I'm not gonna do nothing in English. I'm gonna do like the introduction the narration was in English, but then the rest of the film was in Japanese. And then of course I had a little touch of like that Stanley Kubrick artistry in there, where everybody's like, did you mean to have, was this an unfinished scene where the birds are drawn and they're flying? I'm like, no, I meant for it to look like that. It's art. Yeah. So then it got, funny enough, there were so many questions that were asked. And again, I do the whole, where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah. I hate when people sit here and they tell us what we sit here and we talk about what we can't do. I'm like, that's not getting it done. We need to sit and talk about what we can do to make this happen. I don't want to sit here and talk about what we can't do this because this. I'm like, okay, wow, that's not helping us get it done. So, what we did was I had a lot of people asking me, how are you going to film this scene with the swords and the samurai swords, and how are you going to film it during this time of the year in Michigan? How are you going to do? I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to make it happen. So luckily, the film got a standing ovation. They played it again.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had so many people hating. There was that when they played it again, somebody had said again. I'm like, yes, again.
No, that's great, man. Let's just trying something different. So, and the reason why they, for horror, why it was horror and now, it's Christmas and urban, is because it's the easiest thing to make and to sell.
Right.
And
Hallmark. And I like Hallmark.
Yeah, exactly. No, and look, if it's good, it's good. I don't complain about good stuff. Like I said, I love a good Hallmark. I'm gonna take my jacket off because I'm sweating. But I love a good Hallmark film. But not if it's not good, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But it's like they just make whatever's easiest to sell and they take no risks. And like that's good in the short term, but the problem with that is you don't build much. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can build something, or you build something that's just easily toppled, because again, if the barrier to entry is that low on what you do, it's easy to compete with you. And if people can compete with what you do, then you're not going to be top dog for that long. And I've seen some guys, they put a lot into whatever it is that they're making, and then they struggle because all of a sudden now everyone's making urban films. You know what I mean?
Right.
And again, it's great. Make as many urban films as you want, but make them good. That's the thing. Make it good.
Just
no excuses.
Really
make it good. Do your best. Yeah.
Right. So before we close out, because this is the first time, but this is not the last time I'm going to have you on the show. We have.
I'd love to be better. I was prepared, man. I was ready. I was like,
we gotta have you again. We gotta have you again.
Oh, I'd love to. This is fun. Yeah. But, I don't like the quick interviews. I like the long form.
What advice would you give aspiring producers trying to break into the industry today?
Producers? I mean, for producers,
directing and producing are different. So
they're very different. Yeah. That's why I'm curious. So, for producing, you know what I mean? I mean, it's as a producer, your thought is the product, man. You're the product person. The director, everyone else tends to be on the, you have the excuse of just focusing on the art. You know what I mean? But if you're producing, you've got to think with a business mindset. You've got to think of you're selling something. You're making something to sell it. Now, some people will take that as, I should do, those urban films and whatnot, because those are the easiest to sell. Well, no. And just drives me nuts whenever I hear it. I always feel, I understand why Disney makes crap films, or I understand why some of these Tubi movies get made and get sold, is because that's what sells. No, your product is a creative product. You know what I'm saying? If you're not making the best products for your customers, they will find something else. That is the dumbest logic I've ever heard in my lifetime. And you always hear the same people complain, like, the industry's changing and we can't make money off of it. And it's like, some of the responsibility, I don't blame the AI industry for filmmaking going bad, or YouTube. The reality is too many people they go for low-hanging fruits. We cannot be a country full of people that only go for low-hanging fruit. You have to do your best. Because it's a competitive market.
Don't be lazy. Put your best foot forward.
Absolutely. Put your best foot forward, because you're selling your product. And the reality is no one owes us anything. You know what I mean? Like it's a business. We owe it to the people that we're making this stuff for to deliver something that's good, that makes them want to watch it. If they don't want to watch it, we haven't done our job. It's just plain and simple. And that's the buck stops there at the producer. You have to. You've got to make sure that what you're making is the best, and you've got to make hard decisions, throughout the entire bit. If an actor sucks, you got to replace him. If you can't film, whatever that you wanted to put in the script, you got to find a way to. Yeah, no, exactly. That's 1,000. I've done it too. I've had that, and those are hard things to do, and no one wants to hurt anybody's feelings.
Because it's like you love them. It's like listen, I got love for you, but I gotta make sure this goes well.
But you suck ass. Yeah. You are terrible. No offense, but you are terrible. Go get better, please. Because, and here's the honest truth. You know what I mean? I can feel bad for critiquing. So, you know what I mean? Like someone who's really just doing awful on my set. You know what I mean? But the honest truth is they didn't put in the real effort needed to do better. It doesn't take that much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've seen people who are good actors that come on and they deliver a half-assed performance, and it's because a lot of times people come on set and they're like, I just have to read these lines, with a little bit of anger. Everybody, my children can do angry. You know what I mean? Like, that's nothing. But I want you to be indifferent. Show me, a subtle sadness, not full on tears. You know what I mean? Like, sell those moments to me, because you understand, and not just sell the moment. Understanding your character is so key. You can ad-lib a performance and do better, instead of like just reading and not knowing where your character is. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the things that drives me. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
Okay, so we're gonna close out this episode for tonight, everybody. I hope you had a great time listening to Marquis.
I appreciate you guys listening, man. I really do.
We got a good audience, and everybody from Facebook to YouTube, because this is where we're streaming, Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And we're looking forward to having you back. We'll have to schedule that. I know that you're.
I look forward to it.
So,
make sure my car's doing good.
Filming keeps everybody so busy. So yeah, but don't go anywhere. Stay behind scenes. Let me close out this show, and then I will talk to you right after.
Okay, thanks, and thank you, Lee. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been awesome. Seriously.
Thank you so much for being here. I'll give you a minute to say ciao to everybody and let them know where they can find you on social media platforms to support.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So please, the film, to keep track of progress. I mean, you can look us up on IMDb, but then also, and thank you, Little Ninja. I really appreciate it. But Enigma with a W.com. That's my website. It's got a bunch of great stuff that we're really awesome things that we're working on right now. And I hope to talk about the other big project pretty soon. I really do. But the film, go on YouTube, Enigma Studios. It's Enigma with the W Studios on YouTube. You can find out some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm trying to launch a YouTube channel. I get pretty busy, so I get pretty bogged down with that stuff. But please check us out there. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well. I do post regularly on those platforms. And I have a book. I should preach this a little more. My first, I have two books out actually. One is called OBE, A Journey into Pure Consciousness. It's about a guy that has an out-of-body experience. And the other book that came out not too long ago is called The Book of Rain, The Fall. It's a great fiction novel. I really want to turn this into a movie. Oh my God, this would be an amazing ride. But you can pick that up on Amazon. So that would be fantastic. The Book of Rain, rain is spelled with two N's. The Book of Rain, The Fall by Marquis White. Look that up on Amazon. It's a great read. I don't promote it enough. I just write and let it out. But those are the places that you can find myself.
I'm gonna have to, the next time I get you on the show, we're gonna have to dive in more with your writing, because I was gonna ask you, do you think that it's a wise decision for any writer who also wants to get into film and direct to create the book, get it published, and then let the audience grow from reading the book and then move forward to a film?
I don't think there's any particular way that you need to do it. I think in today's world, I think almost anything, it can happen in any order. You know what I mean? Getting your book out there is hard as, it's probably harder than getting your film out there. So, the medium of consumption, attention spans are lower. You know what I mean? Reading, people still read, but do they read as much as they consume little tidbits? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I think you can do it simultaneously. Here's a great use of AI. Let me tell you guys this. If you want to use AI respectfully, I understand it's a sensitive field when it comes to filmmaking, but this is what I think you should use AI for. If you have a story idea and you're writing a book, use AI to conceptually put your book together for a visual so that people can see, and that then becomes a nice piece of advertisement for what you're making. That's my take on that. And that you can do simultaneously. But I say dive into the one that you can get soaked up in. So for me, when I write, I get lost in it, and that's how I know I'm writing something. That's what I want to do. Exactly. Just go for it. Dive into the thing that you really want that you can get lost in. And if it's a script, dive in and get lost in the script. I find movie script writing is easier to do than writing a novel. Novelist thing is, what I'm saying? It's not even the biggest of novels, but it's a lot in there. And your selling platform is different as well. So, building an audience is different, in a book than it is everything else. But I say just unleash the beast, man. Just unleash your inner beast and go nuts. refined and refine and get better. And I think you will find your path that way. But adding a little focus is always good to it as well. You know what I mean? But whatever you do, just try it with earnest and true dedication. That's my honest take. And you'll find the path that you got to go on to. And learn from people. My God, learn. Yeah,
Learn.
A lot. Yeah. There's
Swallow your
a lot
pride
of good
and just
reasons.
learn.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
True. That's true.
All right, everybody. That was Marquis White. Okay, stay tuned for the next episode. And also, please subscribe, and so that you do not miss out on Sugar Boys. You want to find out when exactly it's being released. And I'm going to close it with one last question that just hit my brain that I really wanted to ask you earlier.
No
have you ever been asked by any cast members, when is this going to be released?
Always, every day, I get people like, "Oh, it hasn't been." You know what I mean? It's like, and this is what I tell them. I say, you know, we take our time because I want it to be as good. You can edit forever. That's true, but we're doing a lot. You know what I mean? We're putting a lot into this, and you can see from the trailer. You know what I mean? Like we don't short ourselves on quality. In terms of what we had, I mean, I'm sure, if I had 300 million, it would look whatever, but no, it will be this year. Absolutely. We're really about done filming. We have a couple more shots to pick up, but all the major scenes are done. All the long stuff, that's all completed. And so post and visual effects and whatnot, that's really where we are. So I really anticipate, the first release. The first screenings will be probably 3 to 4 months from now. In terms of the theatrical, that depends on, because so the way that the theaters are working, they don't want us to compete with, it's not smart anyways to compete with, like, I'm not beating Avatar in the theater, you know what I mean? If I am, I'll fund your next movie, but that's not, you know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna, it's smart for us to wait until the down months, and that's really what they're going for. And that's a good piece of advice that I want to give to people. You want to fulfill sections that are not being fulfilled. So there's a great book called Blue Ocean Enterprise, and the smart thing about that is that you want to find sectors of your industry that are not being filled out. And it doesn't mean find a new industry. It just maybe find a new industry, but really what it means is find a sector in that industry that is not attended to, and utilize that. Take that as an opportunity to make something in that space. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the same thing with distribution, and I think what's coming out of now, to answer your question from earlier a little more, is we're really at a place where we have to understand, we have to create new ways of distributing ourselves. And that might not be that we go through a traditional distributor. It might be that, like, distributing independently with the help of like an aggregator, or, just building an audience on YouTube is the way to go. And that might be the better place for success these days, because
some kind of presence, some kind of like social presence on YouTube.
Yeah.
Engage with your audience.
That's right.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? This is Marquis White,
and then collaborating with others that have a wider audience and so on. You know what I mean? In addition to getting it onto streaming platforms, like I think that the industry is never going away. Storytelling has been here for thousands of years throughout, humanity's existence. That's never going away. We have to understand, the change. Change can be scary, but if you get ahead of the curve, you can own the space, and that's where you can really grow. And like, this is the time. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see, the Walt Disneys of our generation. You know what I mean? This is the time. I think it's that kind of change. Like, that guy revolutionized the industry itself. I think that's what we're going to see, not just your Spielbergs and whatnot. I think, the traditional, the way that films have been, distributed in the past, the standard didn't really change from the 70s to the 2000s. I think that standard is definitely changing, and the people that figure that out now will be the industry leaders. You will be the legend. You know what I mean? Right. 50, 70 years from now. So, put your pants on. We all got to put on our big boy pants or big girl pants. You know what I mean? It's time to figure it out, man. Don't rely on anybody else. That's right. It's just never been a greater time for getting this stuff done.
Yes, come on, guys.
Absolutely. No, the creative market's never going away. You can tell the appetite for creativity and creative works is
very
huge.
thirsty. They're very thirsty for
Absolutely.
creativity, especially uniqueness.
Absolutely,
Tired
absolutely.
of the copy paste.
They 100% are, and a lot of people take that as reason to get down about it too. That no, this is the time to be innovative. That's what that time is. That's what that says. You just have to, you have to embrace the fear. You know what I mean? That's all that means. Embrace the fear and find a way. That's
I laugh in the face of danger.
Danger? What? God, wait. What movie is that? Danger? I laugh in the face of danger. She was mocking him.
Lion King.
Oh, it is Lion King of Simba. That's right. No, it's Naya making fun of Simba, right?
Actually, I think it was.
I think it's both.
Well, in the first one, I think it was the bird.
Iago. Oh, so was Simba? Simba was.
Not Iago. What's the wrong movie?
Yeah.
It was the bird.
Yes. Yeah. No, yeah. It was Iago, right? No. That's Aladdin.
Yeah, I know. I said Iago. That is Aladdin. But it was the toucan, and he says, "We right now we are all in very, very serious danger." And that's when he says,
Zazu.
"Danger, huh? I laugh, but I live on the wild side. I laugh in the face of danger."
Yeah, but didn't Naya make fun of him for that same line though, as well later on?
That was later.
Yeah, she quoted him on. Yeah. That was. Yeah. But no, that's right. I laugh in the face of danger. That's right.
All right, we're having a lot of fun, everybody. You already can tell the next episode is going to be awesome. All right, so I'm just going to close out, but again, don't disappear. I'm going to make
no. I'm great. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Oh, say it again. Sorry.
Oh, no. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. That's all.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the FlawlessDreams Radio Show with your girl, Lily the Goddess, interviewing Marquis White for the very first time, but not the last time. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel, and be on the lookout for his feature film, Sugar Boys. If you missed this episode, catch the replay.